A lot of shows, especially in animation, have time more or less stand still. SpongeBob is the same idiot he was 20 years ago, and Bart never has a chance to grow up. However, My Little Pony, of all things, is not one of them. The cast noticeably grows into their own over the course of the 3 in-universe years that the series comprises. Shockingly for all that, I haven't read much in the way of analysis and what those times entail. Now, it's been said by the authors that the episodes aren't necessarily aired chronologically. However, there are several turning points that have to occur in a certain order, giving us a timeline. And there are a lot of questions that can actually answer with this. First off, how old is the cast anyway? That's actually made explicit, at least for one of them, and the others aren't hard to find. So, let's do some math. Start, throw out Equestria Girls. We know our millennium-old sun goddess is in her 40s or 50s in that universe, so it's clear that ages are not consistent. And so we can't just flat out say that they're teenagers. Second, we learn in Cutie Mark Chronicles that the entire group got their cutie marks on the same day. Fluttershy and Applejack were the last in their class to get their marks, and Rainbow was the first. Also, we know from the Crusaders story there is sometimes a multi-year gap between phonies find their destiny and get their mark, as these gals don't get theirs until well into the second or early third year of the show, despite being the oldest unmarked fillies in Ponyville in their premiere episode. Then, in Apple Family Reunion, we learn that the Apple Family Reunion happens every 100 moons, or 8 1/3 years. We then have a flashback to diaper-clad baby Applejack at her first reunion. Using basic algebra, this means that Season 4, Applejack is 1 plus 8.33x years old, which means she's either 9, 17, or 25. Hold this thought. Now, in For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, we have a flashback to Sweetie Belle's 5th birthday party, where Rarity is already a full-grown mare. Given that the absolute youngest the fillies can be is 10 at the start of the show, given the fact that they have a school newspaper. Rarity, who is vaguely younger than Applejack, must have been fully grown at least 5 years before the show started. However, 3 years later in Season 9, the fillies, now a minimum age of 13, are still drawn as children. This eliminates the teenage option from Applejack's age. Therefore, Applejack is 25 during Season 4, which means she started Season 1 at 24. This is far older than any other estimate I've seen. The episodes clearly act like the cast are teenagers or even younger. But this is explicit in the script. As an aside, a 25-year-old Fluttershy also gives her little brother Zephyr Breeze a chance to become the perennial disappointment that we saw in Season 6. The younger number just doesn't, and this would put him at oldest at age 18 in his first appearance. We need a few more assumptions to pin down the rest of the cast, however, they aren't big ones. Let's assume Fluttershy is the same age as Applejack. Since they are in different schools, that wouldn't contradict the script. This means Pinkie Pie would be 23, Twilight and Rarity would be in the 21 to 23 range. Probably on the older side, since Twilight is a graduate student and Rarity has already established her boutique. So that leaves Rainbow. Oh, she's explicitly the youngest of the group. Of note, she wasn't even accepted into Wonderbolt training until Season 4, despite her noted flying accomplishments, including breaking the sound barrier. There's only one good reason: being too young. However, she's not a child by any means. Other evidence: Rainbow Dash's Season 4 birthday party is huge, even on the scale of this show. There's only one good explanation: that this was a landmark birthday. Her 21st. This means that Rainbow was 19 at the show's beginning. That's a far bigger gap than really anyone else has mentioned or even thought about. However, it fits all available evidence, including how Zephyr is infatuated with his older sister's best friend. So far, so good. Using math and cross-referencing for interesting fun. How about we go a little darker? Aw, look at Flurry Hard, cute little baby princess born in the beginning of Season 6. Look at her playing with the Cake Twins, who were born way back in Season 1. Wait a second. Season 1? Yep, still infants. Even if the episodes were out of order, Twilight's lack of wings firmly pinned this down to no later than spring of the first year, around the time Cadance and Shining Armor got married. However, less than a year has passed since their birth, and there are no massive time skips in this section of the show. So, let's have a question. How many traumatic events was the Alicorn of Love pregnant through? Well, horse pregnancies last a full year. This means being drained of magic and imprisoned in Tartarus, definitely pregnant. Fighting a giant plant monster with Twilight, definitely present. Thrown off a castle by her husband to stop an evil overlord, almost certainly pregnant. Being imprisoned in the cave under Canterlot Castle during her own wedding? Well, that's a question. It would certainly explain things. Royal weddings are planned months or years in advance. However, Celestia hires the main cast for her reception mere days before the event. Twilight didn't even get told of the engagement, merely hearing of it via the wedding invitation. Could this be a royal shotgun wedding? Yeah, it can. Of course, the fact that they were sexually active does seem to support the widespread fan suspicions about just what Chrysalis was doing to Shining Armor. This is a kids' show, so let's just say it gets dark fast. So my point, it's interesting to think about these things. And My Little Pony especially isn't afraid to have their story take dark turns. And I look forward to what the authors are going to do next. Thanks for listening, y'all.